So Jack, you've been to college. You grew up in the farm, I suppose, to start with that. You've been to college and you started up, I suppose, your own venture here on the dairy farm. What was your motivation for that?
There's quite a lot of reasons. I wouldn't actually say, Dad probably thinks that we want to do things differently. I wouldn't actually say that. I'd say it's the uncertainty of looking at what's happened in Europe, and this country's still quite aligned, even though it's maybe not supposed to be. How do you know? No one actually knows where it's going to go. You get no guidance on food security. We've got more imports all the time. That's across all fields, not just dairy. So I think there's probably that concern. Then the other thing was, you can call it diversification. I would more call it value added. We didn't need to diversify. We were fine how we were, but if you can fight on two fronts, then why shouldn't you? And I think definitely, as growing up, my friends outside of farming are not farmers. So I tend to spend a lot of time away from the industry after I've been in it, rather than be engrossed in it 24/7. So I had a very different perspective quite early on. And then again, going to uni, I went to Newcastle, didn't do ag, did business and accounting and stocks and stuff. Again, with a lot more urban people even than my friends are. Again, gaining a different perspective and probably picking up trends on behaviours, why people buy things, what people's perception is on farming. Very different to what probably farmers used to think that everyone hated us and too scared to say anything. I think Clarkson's farm opened everyone's eyes to that.
Yeah.
I started working on this before that, but I can't move quickly, unfortunately, because I've not got an endless pot of money. So yeah, I wanted to shed light on the dairy industry in a positive way, and also the fact that milk is actually a really nutritious product. It's not a back of the shelf, just grab it, don't even look at it. It's got a lot of benefits, which even in the last 3 months, you're seeing loads of things come out about milk. I mean, there's been the bowel cancer one, for instance. That's the most recent one. And there's a big shift in people wanting to buy more natural products that are as minimally processed as possible is probably the newest way people are looking at things, and that's growing exponentially. So that definitely helps me here. And then it always helps if you can make a few bob on top, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the idea. And then having more of an open book. When we started, we had well, you'll see the window upstairs. We had a window looking into the dairy downstairs, which was covered up by some little garden sheds I had. But there was like a little slither where you could still see in. But it was a really dirty window, so you couldn't. People always tried to have a look in. People were asking for it. We were a bit apprehensive at first because of, are they going to think it's cruel and all that kind of stuff. But then enough people asked, where I was like, no, we'll do it. And the response has been really positive. You get some people who can't quite wrap their head around it. Some people think the cows on there are fake.
Yeah.
Some people think the cows are, those particular group are on there 24 hours just going round and round. So you have to explain all that. And people are most surprised that the cows walk themselves on,
Okay.
which I wasn't expecting. And that's a bit they find the most interesting, is because obviously their belief is that it's either cruel to milk cows or they don't want to be milked, whereas the reality is they do want to be milked and they're an animal of routine. And I'd also argue that probably we're not worried about criticism now, because we've got enough people coming here seeing it, that we've got enough people to back us up, that they come here every day and they'd actually argue for us. If someone was to argue against us, they'd probably argue back. I mean, you can see it not on a lot of posts, but on some posts where people might have called us out on some things, you know, some keyboard warrior. People that come here have gone back and being like, well, we go there every day and it's this and it's that. So we don't actually even have to combat the argument. Because from a business perspective, you don't want to be in the comments arguing. So no, it's been all positive so far. I'm sure there'll be some negative along the way.
Okay.
But yeah.
So when did you start?
November 18th, 2023 is when I first started, which it looks totally different now. It was the traditional milk vending, 2 garden sheds next to each other, one processing milk, one selling milk and milkshakes.
Okay.
And then probably 10 weeks in, was it even 10 weeks? Yeah, about 10 weeks in, just one video on social media just blew up overnight, increased footfall by 4 overnight, and it just stayed there. So I had to make a decision pretty quickly. Well, I made it within about a week. I was like, right, we're just going to go for it, because I would argue, without sounding like you're bigging yourself up, we're good on social media. I mean, we grew a lot, and we've grown a lot quicker than others. So the projection for us was, if it's increased 4 times now, it should even increase more, because we can look at where a percentage of people are coming from. Even now, we haven't actually infiltrated Chester that hard. So there's always room for growth.
So how do you track people? Where are they coming away? Or is it just by talking to people? Or
no, so social media is our biggest attraction. So we just do videos on what actually goes on farm, originally flavours of milkshake, just putting engaging content out there. So I don't actually control that. I have a guy who does all my socials, because he knows what he's doing with that side. So getting people down, then obviously they speak to each other, word of mouth.
Okay.
So you do get a bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then decided to build a big, massive building, because one, I wanted to improve the food area, because food standards, depending on where you are, I've got quite a strict one, which is good, because it means your standards are always high. So we've got a 5 food rating now, and well, we never didn't have one, but it takes time to get rated. Yeah, and then just little mistakes I've made along the way with designs. I made design mistakes with this one as well, but there's less than the first one. And then we wanted to offer more products, so we've got 2 vending machines doing milk and milkshakes now, which we need, because they're used at capacity. We sell ice cream, both hard pots and your McFlurry style ice creams. Then you've obviously got the viewing area upstairs, so they can watch the cows being milked.
Yes.
Whenever. There's a small area for the kids. It's nothing major, but it's something to keep them distracted. So it's, in parents' eyes, it's quite a cheap way to shut the kids up, I suppose.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go somewhere else, you might end up spending 60, 70 quid.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you actually don't have to spend anything if you don't want to. I think people get annoyed with paying for parking to get into somewhere or that kind of stuff. So yeah, you could argue that maybe I'm losing a bit of revenue, but people, when they're here, they don't. I've never seen anyone turn up and leave without nothing.
Okay.
I'm sure there might be one, but yeah.
Yeah, good. So I suppose just the interaction with the public and your farm. So you're near Chester, as you were saying.
Yeah.
A lot of population there. You're near your public road here, so parking and your farmyard, it's all in unison as such here. Yeah,
I mean, when you have the gates open, people just walk.
Yeah.
If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah.
So once the last milk gets picked up at 12, those get shut. So they're not allowed to just walk up there, purely from a health and safety reason.
Yes.
I mean, if I'm changing blades on a mower, I don't want them over there where I'm doing it. So yeah, no, this was grass, which is technically not allowed, but yeah, we've just had staff parking there for years. So we built a car park round there, which, as soon as, like I said, overnight, as soon as we increased by that amount, we outgrew that car park. But I had to just deal with it for a long time. And then now we've got enough for about 35 cars. So we've gone up from enough for 12 to enough for 35 at any given time.
Yes.
The last week, and probably the previous week, we were at capacity there. So being as though it's the winter, well, it's a good problem to have. But yeah, it's sort of what do you do now?
Okay.
So that's the next thing. The next expansion's on the horizon.
Growth.
Yeah. More products. So
Yeah.
that's the next thing, which will be soon, which people will see eventually.
Are you making your own ice cream?
Yes and no. It's all made with our milk. So we want to keep everything with our milk, even if it costs us more money.
Yeah.
But I have an Italian guy who knows exactly what he's doing with the ice cream.
Yes.
And you've got to go through various trainings and stuff and how to make ice cream.
Yeah.
And I'm still working full time on the farm as well as doing this. So I haven't got the time to do it, and also if you've got an expert doing it, it's going to be better than some beginner.
Yeah,
so
consistency and whatever. So signage wise and branding, it's very strong and attractive.
Yeah, my ethos on that is I call it aggressively annoying. So you remember it. I mean, the example I use is, you know, TSB. Well, Lloyd's used to have the Black Horse running, which everyone knows, and TSB have the opera singing. It used to wind me up when I heard it because it just annoys us. But if I'm 5 rooms away, I know it's TSB. So I kind of wanted to get that sort of impact into people, where if they see that milk splash, those colours, they know it's us, or if they think of milk, they might think of that. So yeah, I think the branding's good. There's a lot to be made these days with branding. Everyone's going a lot more simple. I see it with football clubs are changing their logos. They're dead easy. I don't think simple is better when it comes to logos. I think you can become quite boring. You could argue the cow face is quite simple, but yeah, I think if you stand out, people look at you, don't they? And if they never look at you again, fine. But you definitely get some people who definitely look at you for the branding, or it catches people's eye. Yeah. I mean, I had some woman stop the other day just because it was at night. That's all lit up and it's dark.
Okay.
So that's in blue lights at night. So she just stopped here because she saw that. So if you had let's say, more neutral colours, and I'm not sure you get the same effect.
Your mix of materials as well. The brick could be traditional to Cheshire, I guess, and
yeah. I think aesthetically,
yeah, it looks well
nice. And then Yorkshire boarding's obviously you're mixing in part of the farm, aren't you? But yeah.
Okay. Your garden benches or whatever then for people in the
I mean, it's winter now, so it's not getting used at the moment. But we started with it last year. It became quite popular. This year, I suspect more so. So we'll just have it. It's just so people can sit down.
Yeah,
a lot of people have said, you know, if they've not got enough space at home where they, you know, maybe someone's garden's looking into the back. Here they can just sit here. Sometimes there's cows in the field or horses in the field, so it's just another dynamic for them. And I mean, it's like, you know, we might sit in the beer garden and have a few beers. Some people might just want to sit here and have an ice cream or whatever. So yeah, it's always growing. It's just frustrating sometimes because you can't grow it as fast as you want because there's a lot of hoops to jump through, let's say, and getting more and more money from the bank. But yeah, so you see again in here the branding's very heavy.
Yeah.
But I like to sort of keep it all conformed, just so it's colours. Again sticking in. I'm trying to get that to stick in your head all the time. Right. So yeah, there's that. As you can see, like we're already pretty much ran out of room. So there's going to be a bit of shifting when we do our next product. After that, we are absolutely out of room. And then Dad's touched on the parlour probably getting moved. So I'm hoping I might be able to take some of the
some space there again.
Yeah, where the bulk tanks are, where all the pipe work is. I might be able to take some of that. Whether that's bigger kitchen, maybe a small processing plant, and possibly, I don't know, whether you look at having a cafe, whether you look at gift shops.
Yes.
But it's employing more and more people. Like I've only got one employee now, which is great. It's taking a lot of pressure off me.
Yes.
But vending machines have been pretty good. They have their little quirky problems, which do annoy you, but they don't go off sick, and they don't need holidays.
Yes.
And the national insurance doesn't go up on them.
Okay.
So that helps as well.
Free of regulation. So tell us here, what can people buy when they come in here? So
yeah, so just generally, the way I've got it set out is when that there. I mean, I know there's stuff we're just cleaning up a little bit this morning. That's what I originally started with, just that area there. So all the printing is done specifically to those machines. So I had to keep it that way. But then the idea here was I was going to have all the milk down here, and then the ice creams, and then the coffee and bottles. But I've had to have it so just slightly differently. But you've got your ice cream here, and then your basic flavours, which are on all the time, are on the machine furthest to the left. Special flavours, which we change 2 every week, so they stay on for 3 weeks each. That's in that machine there. Then the coffee machine, which is having a little moment to itself at the minute. And then, yeah, you got 2 bottle machines just because I was restocking bottles twice a day, which working on the farm, you've got to do it in the morning and do it in the evening. I mean, yeah, I had a lot of nights where I was sorting milk out after midnight, sorting bottles out after midnight, just because it was too busy for me to get in everyone's way. And then what you can't see is there's an alleyway behind, so I've actually changed these machines. Used to have to do everything through the front, put the milk in through the front, whereas I was like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So we've edited them, so now I can do everything through the back.
Yeah, makes a big help.
But yeah, this is just purely your vending area. And then upstairs is more where you can sit down, watch the cows, all that kind of stuff. So we can head up and have a look. But
so your bottles then, say
they're Christmas ones.
Okay.
I know it's February.
Yeah.
I had a minimum order, so I need to just. We've
that.
not got many left, so I just need to get through them. So usually we've got small bottles which we've run out of, which are hopefully coming next week, and then yeah, it's usually just big bottles and small bottles. So
do people recycle their bottles, keep the same bottle, or
yeah, they keep them unless they drop them. They keep them, so they clean them out themselves. If they don't, we offer an area where they can rinse them. But I mean, I can't offer an area for them to wash them. But yeah, the idea is they'll come. Let's say it's the first time, they'll buy 3 bottles, fill them up, and then they'll just wash them themselves.
Say this, will people buy more milk with the syrup in it, or just as it is?
No, milkshakes. Yeah, it's about 87%
milkshake.
Yeah,
crikey.
But the milk is climbing. So some people come purely for the milk. The people that don't, they tend to have 5 visits and then they start also getting the milk as well. But for people aren't going to buy milk unless they live within 15 minutes, really. They may do when they're here, but yeah, I'd say it's about 87%. But it is slowly climbing. That's risen from 9% in the last 6 months. Yeah, it's very easy to market the flavours. Marketing milk is slightly more difficult, but we'll get there. It's just trying to market on all fronts can be challenging, especially when your time is limited.
Yes. Is the ice cream seasonal in terms of people buying that?
It's quite weird. So I thought when I first started last winter, well, not the winter, just gone, the one before, the milk and the milkshakes is not seasonal at all. They tend to stay. You might get slight increases in the summer, but they don't really drop off in the winter. I haven't done a summer yet with the ice creams. I've literally only done a winter with them, and they're still popular now. I would assume that they're going to be more popular in the summer, but they don't it's not like they fall off a cliff in the winter. There's still quite a lot of sales in there, but we'll see this summer because I don't know yet.
And with the ice cream, are people eating it here, or are they taking it home, or I suppose it depends where they live, but...
They're eating it here at the moment, so the soft ice cream, they obviously eat here. Then the pots, probably made a mistake where I went for really small pots to begin with. So they tend to eat them here. It's not really big enough. It's kind of pointless for them to take it home. So I've started doing some larger pots, but we haven't started selling them yet. I'm not going to bother doing the smaller pots because I think the people that want the pots, they want to take it home with them, ideally. The people that want the soft stuff, they'll have it on site.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no way of getting that home unless you live within a minute and chuck it in the freezer quickly.
And can I ask the people that are coming here, what's the typical distance they're travelling on average? Any idea?
I haven't got a clue. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, percentage-wise, most people come from Liverpool. Percentage-wise.
Which is how long of a drive?
But anywhere between 40 minutes and an hour, depending on...
It's a fair drive, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think people aren't as bothered about, let's say, long drives now. I think I was in America recently and I asked someone, I said, "Oh, are you coming here today?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there in an hour." And I'm like, "Oh, an hour?" And he's like, "But it's normal for them to travel an hour. That's a short drive. For us, anything longer than 15 is a long drive." I think people aren't as bothered now, and I think people just want something to do at night. Definitely the younger age group are more likely to get in the car and go and do whatever because they've got less responsibility.
Yeah.
Families, you do get some from far distances, but more, you get proportion-wise, you get more families locally than from distance, and more younger people from distance than locally. Yeah, people drive from all sorts. I think we've started to get some messages now more about what time the milkings are. So again, opening that up, it was more. There was also a question of, have these got a shelf life? Will people stop using them eventually? So if we make ourselves just a little bit of a tourist attraction, so we've got that as well. So people are travelling for that reason, because they want to see it, and there's not anywhere else free that you can do it. I think there's one you can pay, and there's one that does charity donations.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's just an opportunity for them to come and see what's actually going on, because we can't hide it. You know, it's what's there is there. So I think people are just interested.
So I see you're open 24 hours here.
Yeah.
Do people come middle of the night? Or?
Yeah. So you tend to get families during the day and later. A lot of younger people later on in the evening. I would say in the week, it's just sort of levels off during the day, and then after work, it's school time. After work is busy. You get a bit of a lull at 6, and then at 7, 8 o'clock it goes back up. And then obviously the frequency really drops between 11, when you get to 11, 12, but there's still people coming between the hours of 12 and 6. Generally a lot of emergency workers.
Right.
So we've got a hospital that's 10 minutes, Chester Hospital. So nurses that are on night shifts, people that work in takeaways, because if the takeaway shuts at 11, they don't finish cleaning until 12:30, 1 o'clock.
So up overhead you've...
Yeah, that was a bit of a Clarkson rob, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's seen the tractor above his pub. So we actually, 3 days before we opened this, we were thinking, why not? I think it just adds a bit of character to the building, doesn't it? So there's nothing really. People don't come to see that, but yeah, it's just a bit of character, which we'll keep adding bits. Like we're going to have some life-size prosthetic cows and stuff, and get some murals painted, just to bring the building to life a little bit. Yeah.
So you've added a viewing area upstairs.
Yeah.
Have a look at that.
Yeah, we'll head up. Yeah.
So this wasn't here to start, and it's, as you were saying, it's the public were looking
They
a bit closer to things.
They couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
To begin with, so you have to excuse the window. It is getting cleaned after. But yeah, so they can just come up here. Milking times are all up there. So
okay.
Anytime they want, and well, we're not going to stop what we're doing, so they can see everything that's going on. But yeah, so it's good. We've got like a storyboard coming to explain exactly what's going on, to stop the people that think it's the same cows going around all day. Yeah, and then you've just got like a communal area if people want to sit down and have a coffee. We've got workbenches there, so people either sit there. You do get some people coming, you know, that if they might just want to change up if they're working from home.
Yeah.
So
they have internet.
Yeah, there's free Wi-Fi for everyone.
Basics.
Yeah, and then you've got a kids area there, which does seem to be popular, but unfortunately that was all the room I could spare for them at the time.
Yes.
We'll see going forward, because it's a whole different ball game if you start having big areas for kids and all that kind of stuff.
So I suppose as the Rotary gets moved out in time, I suppose that's your next project. What do you do there in time? So that, I suppose.
Well, that's the trouble. When we're taking it down, we're not going to be able to do anything.
Okay.
What we will do is get some screens in here that's got a live feed of the new milking parlour, so at least there's that. Yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll just put a notice up saying what's going on, and then obviously we've got to decide: are you going to have a birthing barn? Are you going to have cows back in here with robots potentially? Are you just going to have like almost like a walkway where they can walk either in the cows or even above them? But there's obviously a lot of regs that you'll have to look at on that stuff. And then pretty much where the yellow wall stops there, that's the room to expand this.
Okay.
So you could double the size nearly.
Yes.
If we need to. So yeah, after that, then it's a totally different thing where you'd have to move the whole thing. But yeah, it'll be quite challenging, because you'll get some people initially that turn up thinking that's going to be there.
Okay.
Because
it's to manage expectations on that.
Yeah, so we'll just have to put up a notice. So I've got to decide what we're doing quickly.
But I suppose it's the communication of that. That's what you are conscious of, that you're not letting a vacuum.
Yeah, you don't want to let people down is the thing, especially if they're traveling a long way.
Yes.
So yeah, but I mean, I can't exactly stop it. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just have a gear up for it, and then people will just come and buy the products for a few months while we're building there. But people will probably be interested to see what we're building, won't they, as well?
They will.
So yeah, but it's got its positives and negatives. It's been a really big hit, but then at the same time, it's good to change it up because eventually people might get tired of it. So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's a story that's evolving.
Yeah. It's just showing people more and more, I suppose, which I have no problem with. So we'll probably, hopefully this year, get some open days sorted for people where they have to be very well planned. But I want to do them independently, not with other bodies or supermarkets, because it's sort of, they tailor what you can say, whereas I'm more, ask what you want, I'll give you an answer.
Yes.
And if they don't like it, that's fine. You can't please everybody. I mean, I've probably shown up to now 500 people round, just off the cuff when they've been here. I've never once had a negative comment, and we're housed all year. You got the carving thing where you take the calves away. Once you explain it in a way they can understand, they don't have a problem with it. I had one girl who said that she still wouldn't eat meat because she just doesn't agree with it, but she understands the process of it more and thinks it's not as bad as she first thought. Yeah. That's probably the one, I guess, negative you could say.
Yeah, no, well done.
Yeah, so no, it's good.
No, compliments. Look, it's for me, just for us seeing it here today, it's a large scale farm, but I suppose what you've done really well is bringing the consumer in and the connection with the consumer and farming, the commercial farming. Yeah. And I think there's an educational piece, obviously, you're doing as well, which Jeremy Clarkson is doing as well, but you're doing it here in another small way as well. Yeah, I've been into some schools as well. I've been taught at some primary schools about where milk comes from and all that kind of stuff. And then, I've got schools messaging, can they do trips? Can I go in and speak? And so there's that side as well, which is challenging, but it's good, isn't it? Yeah. It's just getting people interested, and everyone at the moment's farming's like sexy, or it's an attractive industry. People are looking at it. They're not looking down on it like they used to. So we need to sort of keep it that way. Catch that while we can, and get people interested. So for people that want to follow you, what are your social channels, or what are you? It's just at Moo'trition _official. So we're on TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. I mean, you can go and get us on LinkedIn if you want. But yeah, we upload 3/4 times a week. We're quite conscious of not uploading too much, but also uploading enough. But it's just, trying to promote the farm, promote the products, promote all the different products. You end up running out of time eventually. So we'll have to look at the way we're doing things on that front going forward as well. But it's gone well so far. Great. I think there's a lot of potential here for you for the years ahead. So watch this space. I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. You're not going to stand still. The bank loan's got to be repaid first. So it's got to at least last that long. No, well done. Okay, thanks for your time today. No, thank you.